Why hello, and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield, and today we are going to cover some of my favorite formations that I had in 2.0, in the first full season I played, in the season 13 for me, okay? I'm going to show you three, okay, of the formations that I loved, that were really, really strong, and I had a little bit of mix and matching I did, okay? So let's just jump straight into it. I already made a video on covering what I thought about 2.0 after all of the reworks and stuff like that. It might leak in a little bit to this video, of course, because I like to talk about things we cover. And again, if you're someone who likes or dislikes something, I'd love to hear your full opinion on something in the comment, okay? I had a lot of people who are like, oh, I love that and stuff, and those are fine if you just want to be like that. But sometimes I'll get the comment where like, oh, it's terrible now. And they won't tell me why, and I'd love to know why. So, because I'd love to be a voice, to be able to see if what you're talking about makes sense, and then I will voice that opinion. That is the goal, right? And I'm Voice of the Rings, but that's not my own, that's one of my reasons for being a Lord of the Rings YouTuber. So I don't just do RiseToWar, even though I like this game a lot, and I do cover it a lot. So let's go ahead and don't forget to hit the subscribe and like if you would to support the channel. And let me go ahead and show you my first formation. So this is a big one, okay? So I figured out this formation with my friend Jethros. We figured this out in the first 2 days of 2.0 update, okay? We already knew about this. 4 days later, everybody else knew about it, okay? So you probably already know about this group. It is Theoden and Eomer, his nephew, with Imrahil, Prince of Dol Amroth, and Denethor, the Steward of Gondor, okay? What makes this build strong? Their combined synergy that they all want mounted units, and that you have, on one side, you have Arid Leader, which I don't know if you noticed within this season, well, they changed the icon to a knife sword, or sword stabbing, where it used to be those little pluses, like a healing. And I think there's a reason for that, right? So same thing, he also has Arid Leader. You really only need to put 5 points in to make this work well, okay? And I'll explain that in a minute. And then we have Denethor, who has Ally, this is the big one, and Imrahil, who has Ally. Why is this so strong? And again, there you can see the difference. Their icons are all the same. I think they did that on purpose with Arid Leader because they wanted people to realize that they synergize with Ally. I don't know if that was their plan. I kind of like the Arid Leader icon from before, but that doesn't really matter that much. It does make sense that it helps with that. Now here's what you have to think about with this synergy. It says medium units, okay, so this doesn't have to be just horses. This could be half trolls, and there's one other, I think vanguards, those really big scary looking guys, are also medium units, so technically it works on them, but usually the horse units on general are the ones you want to use for this. But medium units in 3 allied formations have a 35% chance to recover 60% HP upon dealing physical damage, okay? The chance of restoring HP is increased to 50% at level 5. Cool, instead of 35%. So you definitely want at least at 0.5. I put it all the way up for ally because the HP is not the hugest thing in the world. It helps, but I want the percent heal to be as high as possible, okay? So then, when you do that, let's go over to Theoden, and you go over to Arid Leader. It says after 3 allied formation mounted units, okay? So this isn't medium, this is mounted. So this is why you do have to think about that, because if it's not a mounted unit, so they're not gonna, this will not synergize as well with half trolls and vanguard, okay? So that's why I really want to use mounted with this combo. Units deal, they have 50% chance to deal additional 50% damage. Why is this good? Because this is another chance for that same unit to deal more damage. 50% chance, mind you, okay? So you don't necessarily need to put this all the way up to make the damage higher. You can, but if you'd rather put points into like some of your other abilities that help your horses or whatever, might be better, okay? But you need at least 5 in Arid Leader on Theoden and Eomer, which means you do need to have them both respect 5, right? To do this. Where Denethor and Imrahil, you could have them technically just the level respect 1, because allies in their level 1 tree, right? But the thing is, why it synergizes so well is their healing is through the roof, okay? Now, healing right now in 2.0 has been really nerfed. I think it needs buff. I think it should be at the same level as this group, okay? Because this group seems to do great with it. But like Galadriel right now, and Arwen, and all the really strong healers of the past seem to struggle. Like, and Rataldo Radagast, yeah, I had it. I don't know why I doubted myself. Those healers were having troubles, even some of the evil side. Their healers just aren't doing much. Like my Radagast did like 7,000 healing, where my horse army does like consistently 50 to 60,000, right? Which again, it synergizes really, really, really well. And that's why I would like to show you this kind of stuff. So you see right here with this fight, you could see this wasn't a very long fight. I destroyed him, but we received 29,000. I healed 20,000. Now, again, I didn't take much damage in that fight, so that one's probably not the best one to show you. So let me see if I can show you a different one here. My thing is being a little weird. Let's see if I can find one. Me and my friend Jethros like to look at our battles and check things out, but let me see if I... I'm not sure why it doesn't want to drag. There we go. Oh, it's too old. Darn it. I wanted to show you that battle report. We gotta take my word for it. No, just kidding. I could do a battle. Let's see. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just, there's someone here who can battle me? Are any of these people actually here? I wonder if this guy will battle me. Oh, well, let's send him out while we talk about this. But yeah, so the healing on this combo is insane. So that is the first group I want to talk about. Very, very powerful. Okay. Now, my main group that I've now kind of stuck to using is this one. And again, I really wish healing would be better, but this is a nice setup. Remember how I did that video, and I don't know if I already put it out or not. It's probably already out on the channel. If it's not, check it out, but it should be on the guide playlist for this one. This is a guide playlist one, my RiseToWar guide playlist. I have a legacy playlist, which is more of like be talking about things, subjects, fun things, box openings, things like that. This is my guide playlist. So check it on the channel, what you like. Pick and choose. It's up to you. The dwarves, Gimli and Dane are both really strong. Now, I will find some people have asked me, well, why aren't you just putting all of your super items on Dane? Because Dane's insane right now. He is. I still really like my Gimli, and if you actually come down and do the math, the Gimli's a little more consistent because he doesn't get countered by several commanders. Having this pursuit stat is still insane that Gimli has that, because Dane gets a little countered by Gilgalad and stuff and things like that. Gimli has no, like, he has people who will beat him, okay? And I don't want to sound like, I don't want him to get nerfed, because I feel like Gimli is right where he should be, but I don't see him being overpowered unless he is, you know, whale status, which again, these are all my items. Like, this is my best character, okay? So that's why he's so strong. But he seems to be, I still see Danes that have maybe slightly less items that do slightly more damage. They'll do like 140,000 with their squad. But my Gimli is consistently doing like 115,000 and stuff. And it's really, really nice, okay? I also find Shire Protectors to be someone, if you put them on your damage dealing commander, it helps. Leave a comment if you know this, but this ability should not increase the commander's damage, but I consistently see commanders do more damage when they have Shire Protectors in their group. Like the commander themselves, not just the formation, the commander themselves. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. I think it might be me and Jethros came up with this idea, thinks that there might be a tie between how much you know unit damage and commander damage you're taking. Do they do less damage? So if Shire Protectors are protecting your formation from getting hit, maybe that's helping the commander do more damage. The way they've split commanders and units now, it would be weird if that was the case, but I think it is a very interesting theory that Jethros has. So leave a comment, what do you guys think? But again, talking about the formations, okay, I'm getting sidetracked. This is a really good one, okay? I've tried other things. This is awesome because we have Gimli and Dane, massive damage dealers, right? They just destroy the battlefield. And Gandalf is here to give me White Council, help make my units stronger and tankier, and White Rider makes all of my damage dealers, units, and my dwarf commanders do more damage for those first few rounds, which Gimli and Dane do a lot of damage in the first rounds, okay? So that's one to think about. And Falgon's in there because Falgon has some amazing defensive buffs for dwarves, right? Now, by the way, we looked into this. This works on the commanders. So my dwarven commanders also take this less 30% modified by defense, okay? So it's pretty cool. I take it, so that's pretty awesome. And this is more if 6 instances of damage on the squad, on the character or whatever. It's not just 6 across all of them. We checked that too. So this is insanely strong. So basically he just is there to help buff and support those dwarf units, right? And And I really love depth defenders. If you've looked at depth defenders abilities, they have destroy equipment. Each attack reduces enemies damage dealt and defense by 12% for 1 round. That's really strong with how new units and items and characters work. It's very high numbers compared to the original game. After receiving burn damage dealt, 25% increase. Normal attacks deal burn damage for the rest of the battle. So if they get hit by burn damage, they start getting a little angry. Okay, also good for a unit group. And exposed weakness. Damage dealt to units affected by madness or stun plus 40% for them as units. Dane has a stun, right? With Ironfoot and stuff. And so they work really well. Also, their stats are fantastic. They have high siege. Their march speed is 89. I know I'm kind of blocking here with the camera a little bit. You can see they're 89, which is really high, which means now how things work with groups, Gimli is not my slowest commander, because if I have horses with him, which I've also done that. I've done it where I've had Shire Protectors on Gimli and Dane, and on the other 2 commanders I had like Dol Amroth Knights to help absorb damage. That was a good combo, but I kind of ended up deciding that I really like this Depth Defender build because of Falcon, putting him in the mix, because before I had like Thorin. Again, I did have a combo where I had Thorin, Dwalin, Gimli, and Dane. Very strong too, and my Dwalin is also a gold commander like Falcon. Now with how the new ascending works, right? He automatically was. I didn't have to do it because he was already so high respect. But I ended up putting them into a different group to try this combo, and this combo seems a little more consistent for PvP. Just having that extra damage output from Gandalf and the defenses from him and Falcon. Also, the siege is great. The defense, flat defense, is awesome. Of the units, the HP is good. Their initiative's it's a dwarf. Their attack's 81 and their damage is 31 to 41, which is really, really good. Though technically, take that with a grain of salt because I am reading this off the item buffs. So if we actually look at the units by themselves real quick, we'd actually see that they're not quite that powerful because that item is buffing them with the numbers, just so I don't say wrong numbers for you. Their damage is 30 to 40, which is insane. Attack 60. All right, HP. Movement speed 85, that kind of stuff. Really, really, really strong. I really like this unit. Got a super buff in 2.0. They were not that strong in the original game, comparatively to other units, mind you. Okay, comparatively. Let's see. Did we have a battle? We did have a battle. All right. Unfortunately, this guy didn't really have much in these armies, so I annihilated him. One thing, if you notice, again, this is the previous group, is again I almost full healed all the damage. So if I have an actual a damage battle where I lose like a third of my troops, this healing number will be 50 to 60,000. I'm sorry I don't have one to show you right now. I'll show you one again in another future guide video, but sometimes that's kind of hard. I don't really like how reports will sometimes expire. I kind of wish that, I know that maybe the game can't hold that much data over time, but it would be kind of nice if they didn't expire all the time. Yeah, but anyway, it's pretty awesome group, and I just really love it. Imrahil too, just having this, medium units have a chance to gain attack. They have Madison stun immunity. Imrahil used to be such a commander that I wanted to use in Season 2 when he came out, and I tried so many things, and he was so bad, and I was so sad about it 1.0. So 2.0, very happy with the fact that Imrahil is like one of the top tier commanders in the game now, which he should be. He's a very cool commander. I also love how he looks. They did a good job with him. So again, those are the 2 main groups I wanted to talk about in this video. Again, you could switch this out. You could do Gimli and stuff. The reason I have it set up like this is because I want Gimli to be able to do as much damage as possible without... So that's why the Shire Protectors are kind of to put the focus on the other commanders. I do notice that Dane still keeps getting kind of whomped because he is the commander-in-chief. I think I've noticed a thing where commander-in-chief usually gets targeted. So I have wondered maybe I should put the Shire Protectors on him as commander-in-chief, or put Gimli in the spot of commander-in-chief and put Dane on the side. But Dane is my technical tankiest commander in that group, because if you look at Dane, his HP is 8,000, defense is 100. All right, Falcon is getting pretty good. He's at 90 defense. Technically he goes up with 20 in combat because of this, so that is good, with 5,000 health. And Gimli is at 7,000 health with 61 defense. So right, they're both pretty good in that. This guy's not even close. Gandalf is there. He's a support commander. He doesn't have the best items either. Even though he is respect 7. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. Those are my kind of my main groups. And again, honorable mention of my combo, I was using Thorin as well for a long time with his combos, because again, he has stuns as well, so he may be a good one to drop in if you have him instead of the other ones, right? With depth defenders if you wanted to use them. And to also Dwalin is still really good. Venturer is insanely good now for the first 7 rounds. Attack of dwarf units in the commander's formation. So again, he might be good to drop it instead of, like, if I wanted to, instead of Gandalf. And I could see, does this help, right, with damage output? But I'm pretty sure we've all kind of found that Gandalf the White's plus 25% damage for 3 rounds is insane. So he's probably the best one, but I could put him in instead of Falcon, right, if I wanted less defense, I wanted more attack, right, for the formations. Yeah. Attack of units in the commander's formation plus 40. Oh, excuse me. This is not all the groups. I don't know why I said that. This is just his group. So that's why it's not quite as good as my setup with Gandalf, because Gandalf buffs all the damage of all the troops. So it is better damage output. But this is still really strong. It's still really good because it lasts pretty much the whole time. There's a little thing that I'm a little bit frustrated about with Ori. Ballin has a similar ability like his, but Ballin is more of a leader commander. He can kind of lead anybody now. It doesn't have to be just dwarves, because they did it as small units. You know, there's the update with small, medium, large units, right? And it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. Small ones counter. I mean, big ones counter small, blah, 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 yeah, or the other way around. No, sorry. Small counter big, big, medium, small, right? Rock, paper, scissors kind of thing going on, which is, I like that. It's a good update. Warrior of the Lonely Mountain does attack and defense of 3 allied formation 7. I kind of already ranted about this with Ori in another video, so I don't want to go on this too much. And then he helps 3 allied formations. This is really good. Attack and defense plus 7. Again, remember, Dwalin's was just his formation, right? Which is fine, because his was pretty strong, plus 7 attack or whatever and stuff. And he gives burn and focus damage reduction for those groups too. That's really good. I haven't actually looked. These may only be for him and his formation, but still very strong. If we look at Ori, Ori's kind of like, he's not awful, but he's also not nearly as good as he was, because Ori wants to, with his special weapon, use axe throwers, okay? It's this ranged dwarf unit, so technically it'll only work for axe throwing training grounds. I don't know why they show all the others when you click dwarves, because they're clicking dwarves here, but it says ranged unit. Only ranged units out of these dwarves are axe throwers, so it's only going to work on them. It's a great passive ability, because Dwarven Axe Guard have a very big range of damage. It's like 10 or something, so this is really good. Chance to deal max damage. You level it just a little bit and it's really strong. But the problem with him right now is Cleric is cool, still a focus basing, buffs an ally, gives him initiative, gives his units attack, all that kind of stuff, right? And Musician is one that I'm a little bit complaining about, because again, remember how I told you at the beginning of this video that healing has been nerfed quite a bit in the game? Well, Musician no longer scales at all on focus. What I think they should have done is they crossed the board with all the Dwarven commanders that had Musician and Endurance Blood, which was kind of consistent thing between Dwalin, Ballin, Ori, and I think even Falcon, right? I love it that they made Endurance Blood very powerful. It's exactly the same across. They all do the same thing. But why would you put all of your like damage dealing stuff for Ori to use Endurance Blood when you've got like 3 or 4 other commanders that can do it better? Because his base stats are more based off focus, this character. Okay, he scales harder with focus than anything else, because that's what he always was, all right? But then we look at Dwarf Warrior, all right, and here's where the complaint comes in a little bit for me, after I've thought about this a lot. The defensive dwarf units in his formation go plus 40, modified by the defense stat, which is really strong. That's a huge number compared to 7 like Ballin, but Ballin gives 7 attack and defense to 3 formations, so you have to times 6 that, right? So it's 7 times 6 in defense, but of course it's divided, right? You got 7 times 3, 7 times 3 defense to attack. This is only a defense. Sure, it's modified and it's very high. So what this could be good is with maybe with Falcon, because Falcon gets some buffs from defenses, but it only helps his group. It doesn't help any other groups. So I personally think, why would you put your massive defensive buff on your axe thrower group in a team? Now, yeah, your axe throwers will be really strong, but you're kind of forced to use axe throwers with this character if you're using a special item. Now, you don't have to, but why would you use him over other commanders if you're not using axe throwers with a special item? Do you see why there's a predicament there? And again, if he had focus scaling on this like one of the trees used to, I really liked how the old trees had 2 of the, like it was a tree and then 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. I kind of wish they just bring that back with the formation system, just split things up again. and just make these where they're only 1 point instead of 3, and then you put them in the other ones. I like that better. I thought that was a better system with the tree. But overall, that's something that you could kind of see what I'm going for. People who could follow me on that. If you're someone who doesn't really play a lot of RiseToWar, I'm sorry if that's confusing. But basically the thing is, he's kind of like a jack of all trades right now, and he doesn't do it nearly as good as any of the other dwarves of those things, except for helping buff axe drawers, which this ability, why would you want defenses on that? So really what you're going to end up doing is you'll probably just put points in Endurance, Blood, and Musician, and then put axe drawers on him, right? Which could be fine. But this is also good. It gives him initiative, and it gives his units +3 attack. So Cleric, Endurance, Blood, that one, you probably wouldn't really want to use Dwarven Warrior on him, which is weird because it's a really strong ability, 40 defense, but it's only for his troops, and if you use it, you get the point. You get the point. So anyway, that's kind of cool. My other group, my last one I wanted to talk about, so now that I've given a little honorable mention to some of my other dwarves that were in my main dwarf group, so I have been using those. I do indeed like Bard. Bard is very, very strong. I don't even have him Respect 2 yet, so, and I gave him all of Gimli's items to check it out, and guess what? He did 70,000 damage by himself without his units. So he does a lot of damage. That was even without using Dragon Shooter at Respect 6, okay? So, and also, King of Dale, his men or dwarves in the Commander's Formation get a huge increase, 30% chance to deal max damage each round. This is going to be insane with axe throwers. Again, that right there probably beats Ori out as a commander, because now this guy does his own damage and he's buffing him. But the initiative effect applies to all races, so you can even use this on anybody. It doesn't have to be just dwarf axe throwers, anything. I don't think it even has, it doesn't even say just ranged. Yeah, this could literally be any damage max. Melees too. So, yeah, it's really good. Again, that's why a little bit, I know Ori's a level blue commander and you can technically bring him up. Mine's purple. I'm just still disappointed with that stuff. But moving on, here Ori's actually in here with him right now, right? I gave Ori the Fortitude of Dwarves. I'm glad I put it on him because I didn't really find that to be a very strong ability anyway. I only put it on one commander to try it. But yeah, there he is. Honorable mention to this character is awesome. This ability is so good. Attack. Now that I've explained like the other ones, attack of 3 allied formations +18 for 1 round, affected for rounds, +5 attack for units. I think it's just his formation, but it may apply to all 3. But very, very strong compared to like Ori, who is also a low tier blue, technically a blue commander, even though mine has also been ascended. And then of course Warden is really good. This one's also good, but he's not that high, my high character here. Gandalf the Grey is still great. Awesome. But here's the main other one, okay? Technically I had this mixed up a little before, a little differently, but Frodo and Sam are really good now. They are insanely strong. One thing my friend Jethros likes to do is he likes to put the Great Beasts on Frodo and Sam, and then he puts all these other commanders that buff like archer units, like Elf, like his Elrond and his Gil-galad and all these other ones, and then he'll like just annihilate someone, right? Where they're doing, and Frodo and Sam have these abilities now that allow you to like, you know, dodge things and stuff. I don't have them Respect 5 like he does, so I don't have this great ability, but they're just so much better than they were. Especially, it's just so much good. Harfoot's kind of cool too, but pretty much just Master of Bag End and this one, and then you give him some kind of like, you can give him Evasion or Fortitude or any of the other stacking defense ability on your items. Really, really strong. Give him Dol Amroth Knights or give him Beasts, right? Great Beasts that have a taunt. Oh, makes them so strong. And again, Thorin is really still a great commander. My one group that was just Dwalin, Thorin, Gimli, and Dane, they were knocking people's heads down. But again, they weren't as consistent as having Falcon and Gandalf the White support Gimli and Dane, which is why I kind of mixed it up just for testing at the end of the season because we were done. We'll see what I do this next season, but those are some of my honorable. That's what I'm using as commanders. There are still great commanders. Just a real quick run through. The commanders I've seen that are all good. All of these commanders seem good. Ori's, unfortunately, Radagast doesn't seem that great, but I didn't really get that much testing. Me, especially Jethros, has a theory now that Hirgon is going to be insane. We did some tests. He has Devotion now, and Warden, and Herald does a flat 600 every other round. This one does a huge number 2, 400 to he's going to actually be kind of crazy. I don't know about his healing thing, but just these first two, he might actually be a really good low-level commander. Now, Gandalf the Grey is still great. Legolas, he seemed, I haven't really tested him that much. He seems like he would be good, but I'm sure he is. Aragorn II, very strong, just like the upgraded version, the King of Men, both very strong, pretty much because they both have Strider and Anduril, okay? I don't know about LSR, how much it heals. Probably doesn't heal very much, but I never see people using that. It's mainly they just use points in those for damage, and the same thing again, Aragorn has the same Strider and Anduril. They're just really strong. That's kind of like, again, Hirgon. Gil-galad's still fantastic. Elrond is really, really good. Basically, my friend, the follow-up thing when it happens is insane. Jethros has really been using Elrond a lot, so you might see him some more in the future from his account doing stuff. My one friend is joining us to play more this next season, so I'm not sure what he's going to be called really on videos. I think right now we're just calling him, his account name's like Tummy or something, but I think that's one that you'll probably know him by. He's gonna be playing a lot of Evil Side, so hopefully that'll be fun. We may make some videos, some evil commanders, because me and Jethros use some evil and we theorize a lot. So, and of course our new friend is finding out that we like to theorize. He's like, yes, I know, you guys theorize for hours. We're like, oh yeah, that's what we do. But so that's kind of fun. I also like how they redid Aragorn's face again. It looks like the second one, he looks just like the actor. That's so cool. Viggo Mortensen. Bjorn is insane right now. He is way up there. He's an S+ commander. I'd like to use him and Bard. They're both really good, but he's insane. He's up there with like the highest physical damage dealers in the game right now are pretty much Dane and Bjorn. Like as an individual commander dealing damage. I will say I think Gimli's right up there with him, especially if you have his axe super upgraded. So if they're across the board fully upgraded, I do find that you'll see that Bjorn and Dane just do slightly more, like maybe 5,000 to 10,000 more on average. But again, Gimli doesn't have the weakness of being avoided at all. So having Gimli with one of them is really insane, or having all three of them with Gandalf the White, scary, okay? Because they all get damage buffs. It's gonna be really hard for the enemy to be able to deal enough damage to kill you before they die. Haldir, I think he's fine. I haven't really used him very much this season. Next season, I think we're playing Lothlorien, so we'll tell you how good Celeborn is, because again, this is something March Wardens, right? March Wardens are going to be an important one. The commanders, he kind of needs them for this ability. So that's something that I was a little bit complaining about with Kings of Men. They really need to make it where you can get any tier 4 unit from any faction, from hiring or whatever it is, because it really hurts the game to not be able to do that for certain commanders. It makes them be forced to go play a game mode where they have to play that faction if they want to use that commander. And the way they did 2.0, it seems like they updated it where they didn't want to make it where there were restrictions like that anymore. Because, you know, like, for example, Balin no longer needs dwarf units to buff. He can buff regular, just any low level, any unit that's small. So I think they need to go through here and go, I think what they should do probably for this character is they should probably change this from March Wardens to ranged elves. That's my opinion. But if they don't want to do that, because it might make him too strong, it makes sense to make this ranged elves instead of March Warden. If they don't want to do that, they need to make it where you can get March Wardens no matter what in any game mode. Okay, that's just a little side note there. Treebeard, probably good. I haven't used him really. Haven't really used Círdan, excuse me, it's not Círdan, Círdan. Don't say that wrong. Let's see, HP. You know, I also do lore videos on this channel. I don't just do RiseToWar. RiseToWar does a pretty good job of map lore and stuff like that. But still, I want to try to respect the lore and how I say things. I'll do my best. Awen is actually rather strong. I just haven't been using her. Faramir's pretty good. King of the Dead. My friends are still kind of bummed because they nerfed the unit of the undead Oathbreaker so much that it makes him not quite as strong. Unfortunately, Thranduil doesn't. I don't see people using him. I think again he might be kind of like an Ori, where he's not terrible, but he's kind of like a jack of all trades, so it doesn't really end up helping. This ability looks really strong, but it's allied defense, only 15. So yeah, but it is 3 groups. Arwen's healing is pretty terrible. for what we tested this season so far. It might change. We'll see. Right here, I haven't used either of these. Mary and Pippin are actually pretty strong. I know that Jethros has been using them. So that's the good side commanders. I'm not really going to go through the bad side commanders in this video because I don't know that much yet. The Witch King still seems very strong. Gothmog seems extremely strong. There's definitely commanders. Sudin has been nerfed when she should have been, but too much. She's like, I don't see anyone using her. She seems really weak now. It's kind of a shame. Sauron is insanely good. He's just good with anyone. He's very good with fighting against like the big damage dealers like Dane, Bjorn, and all that kind of stuff because he reduces their might and things. He's also good fighting with them because he makes them, you know, he's just a really good equalizer to help your team win. But yeah, I think that's it. That's all I wanted to cover for this video. Thanks for being here, my friends. Have a great and wonderful day in Middle-earth. Barukazad Kuzare menu. 30-minute video there. Hopefully that helps you out with that guide. Just a lot of thoughts on those formations and stuff like that. Quick little thank you to my Patreon. You guys are the best. Wrong button. That's why I disappeared for a second. And I'll see you guys all in the next episodes of Voice of the Ring. Subscribe button's there. Next episode will be right up there for guides. And then over there will be a little tale. We're doing voiceovers in Lord of the Rings Online. And I will see you all in the next ones. And have a blast. Stay happy. Menu. And hopefully this was helpful to you. I want to do this before the end of my season. And again, I have another one just covering how this season went, which went pretty good, as you can see. But that was my recommendations of formations that I used this season that I liked. So I'll have more guides in the future too, don't you worry. Please leave your comments. What do you like? What do you dislike? Again, what do you want me to cover more of? I want to do some more individual commanders too. But now that it's like formation groups, I think talking about full formations is good as well. But yeah. Oh, and one little update from my Gimli video right before you leave, okay? I said something a little bit wrong. I said the order thing doesn't really matter anymore. Remember back in the day you have to put them in a certain order? It does still kind of matter, okay? Because there is one ability that hits at the same round, which is I think Lord of the Glittering Claves or this other one. One of them hits first. So I will do another update on that in the future. But just little side note real quick to finish the video. So round it hits on at the second round. This one hits on the second round. Depending on which one you want, this one's defenses will go off. You want this one first, you should put your first point in this one because the defense will be reduced for this one, okay? And same thing for this one because technically this is round 2. They will land on a round at one point. If there's like a stun that happens on Gimli 2 and things like that, and you're going to probably want your additional skill damage to necessarily be off first before another one goes off, or the damage reduction. So order sometimes matters when you put your first point in, okay? You all remember me talking about that in the past, but just throwing that out there. I wanted to correct that for my Gimli updated 2.0 video. I'll do another one in the future too when I have more data on it. See you guys. Have a great day in Middle-earth.